My name is Work Arafine. I'm the owner. Blue Nile is a business, it's a family business that we opened in 2008. Before that, in 2004, we had a smaller restaurant north of here. We opened it to, number one, to bring in the Ethiopian culture, the Ethiopian way of food. Now we have Ethiopian food, we also have American food, we have amazing breakfasts, and we have amazing coffee, we have all kinds of bar menus. The combination of the business, our business plan was to be able to bring an ethnic restaurant this big, also to be able to bring music and art. So the downstairs is specially dedicated for music. We play a lot of live music, we play all sorts of live music. We have some yearly musics we play. One of them is, we call it Band Lado, and we have the Rocktown, Mac Rock yearly, and we also have DJs that play. So we are the biggest music place for dancing and watching music play in Harrisonburg. So we also have a monthly art show that goes on, one downstairs, one upstairs. We sponsor an artist, we call them Artist of the Month. They leave their art display, we don't charge them for the display of the art, but they have to leave it for the whole month. So we display one artist upstairs, one artist.
My name is Mark Finks. I work at the Blue Nile in downtown Harrisonburg. I'm the events manager, security manager. I got my start here at the Blue Nile. I've known the family that owns the restaurant, the Arafanes, for a long time. The first place I actually rented from in Harrisonburg was from the owner of the restaurant. So I've been a friend of the family for a long time, and when they were talking about expanding the restaurant to downtown, they talked to me about coming in and helping them put on shows and bringing DJs in, and that was in 2008. So originally the Blue Nile was a small Ethiopian restaurant that started out on campus of Eastern Mennonite College. The owners of the restaurant wanted to expand and have like a bigger restaurant, and they were really interested in having a bar/venue. So that came from the owner and his daughter really talking about that for years, and I'd actually been part of the conversation with them for years about trying to put together a cool venue space in downtown. Originally the building was abandoned. It had basically been condemned, and no one was allowed to come in it. So when we came in, we'd gotten a grant from the state, and of course with the owner of the building, we worked in tandem with them with renovating the place and really coming up with a neat idea for how it should look. The basement was originally just a root cellar with brick pillars in it, and so we came in and had backhoes come in and dig out probably 2 or 3 feet of dirt to actually make the space in the basement. It's all rock walls down here that are actually the foundation of the building that's over 120 years old. But originally the downstairs space was going to be more of like a nightclub environment or slash fusion restaurant, but as time went on, we started doing some shows and started having more bands play down here. It seemed like that was playing really well down here. More people were coming out for that, and there was just a lot of bands in town that didn't have places to play at. A lot of venues around the time we opened up closed down, and unless you were playing on campus or a house show, there might not be a place for you to play a lot of the heavier, louder bands that didn't really have any place to go anymore. So we really felt like there was a hole in the Harrisonburg music scene, that if you weren't appealing to one style of music or group of people, you may not have many places to play at other than house shows, which a lot of times can get shut down or illegal. So it's tough for some bands to play. So we felt like it was really helping the local music scene, giving a place for a variety of bands to play and just have a chance to bring in outside bands, regional bands to play. And yeah, it's been great for us for the past 6 years. We've had a lot of great bands come through. We've had a lot of great local bands play here, kind of start here and end here. I don't know how many last show ever shows we've had here of bands from from students that went to college here and started their band playing here and ended their band playing. The usual bands that there's like 3 different types of bands, genres that you'll find in the area. Usually you've got your standard like metal band that always seems to be popular, either like a metal or hardcore band. Indie rock bands do really well. There's always a really good house show scene of like different indie rock bands involved with Mac Rock and different festivals that happen in Richmond. So there's always a pretty good indie rock scene. And then there's also the jam band scene. There's lots of bands that play at different like summer festivals that are from Harrisonburg that do a lot of touring that maybe don't play in Harrisonburg as much, but they're from the area and they play occasionally. I think it's great. I think Harrisonburg, for the size and the location of Harrisonburg, geographically we're not near any major city. We're not even near a guitar center or anywhere to really get good equipment. And it's a city of 50,000 people, but I would say Harrisonburg can go toe to toe with Richmond or Philly as far as like quality of music. There's so many good bands, and there's always new bands. With the JMU population coming in and going out, bands are always starting and stopping, but it's always consistent. Every couple years, being someone that books bands on a regular basis, I'll have bands that break up every 2 or 3 years, so I don't constantly have the same bands, but there's always new bands. People are always interested in starting new bands, whether it's through Mac Rock or through stuff that are happening on campus, or just people that live in Harrisonburg that have no connection to JMU whatsoever. There's always people that seem to be putting bands together. I have a pretty diverse musical taste. I mean, that's what kind of allows me to do this job, is that I like a lot of different stuff. I feel like if I liked one thing, it'd be tough for me to have all the bands that I have down here. Probably my favorite local band to come out of this town is Valkyrie. They're not exactly from Harrisonburg, but they started south of here, but they all moved to Harrisonburg. They're still a band. They still sort of play like once a year. The guitarist in that band, one of the guitarists in the band, Pete, actually plays in a lot bigger metal band called Baroness. That's pretty well known in the metal scene, but they still play pretty regularly, and they're probably my favorite band to come out of Harrisonburg. There's been so many bands over the years that have broken up, or Ultra Dolphins, the Cinnamon Band. There's a lot. There's been a lot of good bands to come out of Harrisonburg. It's kind of hard to name just a few. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always tough to get the word out. I mean, bands will have their clique of friends and their group of friends that they talk to and they know, and they can get the word out to them. But a lot of times it's hard to break out beyond that. You'll have bands that play primarily on campus, and it's hard for them to get a scene off of campus or get people to come to the show. Same thing with bands that don't play on campus. It's hard for them sometimes to get people on campus to know who they are. So it's like it kind of works both ways, where everyone's got their little core group of people that come out and see them, but it's hard to like mix those groups sometimes, unless I try and myself, when I book shows, I try and book that with that in mind, that like different bands are going to have different draw and different crowds that like them. So I try and book bands that don't exactly have to draw the same exact crowd. They might have different groups of friends, so we can get more people here, and just people be exposed to bands they might not normally see because they're coming out to see a friend's band. They weren't coming to see this other band, but they stuck around and saw them, and now they like this other band as well. Tour, go on tour. It's always helpful to go on tour, just because you can make connections in other towns. You can, if you're trying. I mean, that's the tough thing, is that there's two different groups of people in bands. There's the people that are just doing it as like a fun thing to do, that like this is what they're doing right now, and they're just having fun with their friends. And there's people that are seriously trying to make a career out of it. So it's different. Either way, it's fun. Whether you're on either side of that issue, you're gonna have fun on tour. Like if you're trying to be serious and make a career, or you're just hanging out with your friends, tours great because it builds connections, allows you to go to other towns and see parts of towns you wouldn't normally see, and it might expose you to other groups that might not normally see you. During the school year when students are in, I try and do about 4 shows a week. Sometimes it's more like this week. I have, except for the show that got canceled on Monday because of the snow, I have 6 shows going on. We'll have a lot of shows, and on average, on average we have at least 50 people that show up for each show. Sometimes live shows that have 180 people show up. It kind of varies depending on what bands are playing. We also, on the weekends, we have DJs. We have 2 resident DJs that play every weekend. DJ Barkley, who's on the website, Niels Barkley, and DJ Feo. Matt Abraham, he's a JMU alumni. They've been our 2 DJs that have been playing on the weekends for the past 2 years. So mainly we do DJs on the weekends and bands throughout the week. Occasionally we'll do a show on a Friday or Saturday. It starts earlier when it's like a band that we have a good connection with, or if it's like a larger national act, that'll have a big draw. But mainly we stick to shows during the week and DJs on the weekend. Really excited about seeing the website coming about. It's awesome to see people trying to catalog and get the word out about the Harrisonburg music scene. There's a lot of awesome things going on in Harrisonburg. There's so many great shows, so many great bands, and I feel like a lot of times kind of get lost, and it's great to see it all in one place and trying to catalog everything that's happening in the music scene, because there's a lot going on in Harrisonburg musically, and it can be hard. It's hard for me to keep up on it. I try my best. It's kind of my job to know who's in a band, what bands are playing, and what shows are going on, and it's tough to figure all that out. So it's great to see other people trying to get the word out and let everybody know what's going on in Harrisonburg and how great the music scene is here.